Overlanding to India, episode 24, floating in Srinagar. We leave the beautiful city of Amritsar and ride towards the north. It's a funny feeling that just a few days earlier we rode exactly the opposite direction. The only difference was that we were 50 kilometers more to the west. So after we crossed the border, we can now head back to the Himalaya mountains. We cross the obvious checkpoints and also the roadworks. But we are used to some dust right now. The roads here in India are slightly better than the ones in Pakistan. But the traffic is not much different. Crazy drivers are everywhere. As the sun sets, we arrive to our destination. But suddenly we see an airplane besides the road. It turns out to be a restaurant just near our overnight stay in Patnitop. In the morning we want to set off early and take breakfast in a little restaurant for as little as 50 euro cents. But you get what you pay for. The traffic was stopped for half an hour to let pilgrims pass. Now the chaos starts again. Just to illustrate the danger here in the mountains, here in the right you can see an excavator buried inside the rock after a landslide. A complete new road with many tunnels is built towards Srinagar. Many people are a bit puzzled to what route to take now. We can see that by this guy trying to pass a truck and pushing us towards the side of the road. Then we are stopped again for the Yatra pilgrimage. We are not the only one, and soon a whole parking is filled with people waiting until the pilgrimage has gone by. Then we are allowed to pass, and on the other side we can see that the traffic jam is even longer than on our side. A few kilometers further, suddenly the road transforms into an airport and we drive over the airstrip. What an adventure! But pilgrims are not the only ones who let us wait. There are also military convoys on the road on the same time. After the military convoy turns into its parking space, a flock of mopeds leaves. But then finally, we find what we were looking for, the Dal Lake near Srinagar. After we find a hotel, we decide to take a rickshaw to the top where there is a Hindi temple. From there, we want to watch the sunset over Dal Lake. Unfortunately, the temple already closes at 4 o'clock, so we're not allowed to go up. We get out of the rickshaw and it follows its path. So we decide to find something else nice to do. Back at the waterfront, there is a big variety of boats. We choose a nice guy who speaks some English and we settle down in his boat. Here, apparently engines are not allowed, so the guy has to row us two big guys all over the lake. But boy, what a place it is. It is magnificent. There are a lot of these tiny boats crossing the lake. And on the side of the lake there are these houseboats which you can rent. Unfortunately, we could not park our bikes on a safe place, so we had to settle with a normal hotel. Like a pasha, we sit in the boat and enjoy the view. There is even a floating snack bar stopping beside the boat, and we decide to take a drink. Nice. It wasn't even that expensive, something like 50 euro cents for a can of Coke. That tastes really nice in the hot weather. Some other guy tried to sell us some romantic flowers, but as two brothers we're not really interested in that. Our boatsman continues rowing and then we reach the floating market. The specialty here is fresh vegetables, but we don't need that as we're going to eat in a restaurant. Although there are a lot of Indian tourists here, we are one of the few Western tourists. And you can see that the locals are fairly quick and faster than the tourist boats. Here in the late afternoon it turned out that we had the right time for this boat tour. The sun slowly sets above Dal Lake. And for a change, it's nice not to steer a vehicle, but to be rowed around in peace and quiet. Stroll a bit more along the waterfront and find a restaurant where we can have a very nice Indian dinner. Oh yeah, and I managed to keep dry feet as well. But just look at this beautiful sunset. I must make one small remark. Honestly, the salesmen are here a bit more pushy than elsewhere what we have seen on this journey. This is a very cool phrase. Burn fat, not fuel. Okay, and then our evening in Srinagar is over and we go to bed very tired, with a lot of impressions in our head from what we have seen and experienced here. In the morning, we try our luck again. This time, we do not take a rickshaw, but we ride our own motorcycles to the top of the mountain. We are not the only ones with this idea, and you see many rickshaws beside the road. The last few hundred meters we have to climb up via some steep stairs. In the waiting line, I quickly make some Indian friends. They are very nice and explain what is happening over here. Obviously, respectfully, I do not film inside the temple on the top of the mountain. But I do film the view. Unfortunately, it's a bit hazy today. You can see the city of Srinagar quite nicely, but the lake is almost out of sight. Actually, this Hindu temple is in the middle of Muslim area. It's a very holy place and there's also a lot of security walking around. People from all over India come specially to this place. Then we descend down from the mountain and continue our journey towards Kargil. But that is for the next video.